CTV's Rachel Aiello is following the story and joins us now with more. But the issue of the day will be Greenland, and President Trump will be there. What do you expect the discussions to swirl around?
Yeah, undoubtedly another gathering of world leaders just being dominated by an off-agenda geopolitical issue, once again involving Donald Trump. So tomorrow, Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to deliver his first special address to the World Economic Forum as Prime Minister. Certainly he's been in Davos times before. But the topic, I think, of his speech is worth noting given the current context we're in. He's going to be talking about cooperation within an increasingly contested world. And when we're looking at the conversations that are happening at the sidelines, or will likely be happening at the sidelines of this summit around Trump and Greenland, I think that topic is quite heady and of the moment. So we don't know yet if the Prime Minister will cross paths with U.S. President Donald Trump, though given the size of the U.S. delegation and the fact that some of his officials are already on the ground, it seems unlikely that they won't be in the same place at the same time at some point. And so what we know from the Prime Minister is that should he see Trump, he does intend to address what he is saying he is concerned with, this rising escalation of the rhetoric from Trump about buying Greenland, taking over Greenland to some capacity. But it's going to be a delicate next few days diplomatically for Mark Carney, because not only is he having to contend with balancing Canada-U.S. relations, he's also having to keep in mind the stakes of NATO allies and the other European countries who right now are facing those threats of increased tariffs.
And Rachel, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is already in Davos and spoke this morning. What did he have to say?
Yeah, so he was defending Donald Trump's positioning on this, saying this is about hemispheric security. Here's a bit more of what he had to say.
I don't know anything about the president's letter to Norway, and I think it's a complete canard that the president will be doing this because of the Nobel Prize. The president is looking at Greenland as a strategic asset for the United States. We are not going to outsource our hemispheric security to anyone else.
So it's interesting that he's talking about not outsourcing hemispheric security, because what we're watching happening right now are a number of European countries moving military members to Greenland. And now we know, according to a senior government source, that Canada is considering following suit, sending a small number of troops to Greenland, largely in a show of solidarity. So this is a move from NATO allies. And it's an interesting thing when we're talking about U.S. President Donald Trump indicating they're not going to leave the security up to anyone else. But the NATO alliance in and of itself is about a joint security presence. So how things go, whether the Prime Minister decides to take the step, potentially rile up tensions with Trump further by sending Canadian troops, showing that solidarity, those are all some of the hot button issues we'll be watching play out over the next couple of days.
And what all this means for the future of NATO with that. All right. CTV's Rachel Aiello reporting from Ottawa. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks.